Hello student, so in this video we're going to say urine sample collection, since it's a very crucial procedure because whole urine test reports will rely on this. If any form of mistakes if you do while collecting the urine sample, and if you do not instruct the patient properly how to collect the sample, what are the instruments which we can use while collecting the sample, if the patient has not been properly informed, then any form of contamination can lead to a faulty result. So it is very much important to know the proper way of urine sample collection. So the main basic principle is the urine examinations have been used for any kind of chronic infection a person can be suffering from, whether it is asymptomatic or symptomatic patient, or it is also used to monitor a patient who is suffering from chronic infection or problem. While if you have any kind of poor collection or poor transportation of specimens abroad while doing the urine sample collection, then it can directly interfere with the test results, either in a very whether you'll get different abnormal results, or also it can lead to a contamination wherein by a normal flora wherever you do microbial examinations of urine. There are different types of specimen. The most common one is random specimen, followed by morning specimen, fasting specimen, 2 hours postprandial specimen, 24-hour specimen, catheterized specimen, midstream clean catch specimen, suprapubic aspiration, and pediatric specimen. So random specimens are nothing but it is a kind of specimen which has been collected anytime, anywhere, depending upon the convenience of the patient. It is mainly used for chemical and microscopic examinations, and it is the most suitable form of specimen, especially whenever you are doing screening procedure. First morning specimens are nothing but also called as 8-hour specimens, in which a person will sleep or take a nap for 8 hours and at night, and when he wakes up from a night sleep, he will collect the morning the first voided sample in a container, in a sterile container. So that is first morning specimen or 8-hour specimen. Fasting specimens are nothing but fasting specimens is almost same like that of 8-hour specimens, but the person has to be in fasting for 8 hours. So that kind of specimen is called as fasting specimen. 2 hours postprandial specimens are nothing but patient are instructed to void void the morning fasting specimen, and after which he will take a usual routine breakfast which he used to take in a daily manner, and then he will collect the urine after 2 hours of meal. That comes under 2-hour postprandial specimen. The next is 24-hour specimen. 24-hour specimen requires 2 days. So first day at 7 a.m. you will void the urine. You will discard the urine into a container, and he will discard all the urine in that same container till the next day 7 a.m. So that comes under 24-hour sample collection. So while doing the sample collection of 24 hours, it is very much required that you will give a very big container, at least like 2 to 4 ml, 4 liter of container, so that he can void the urine in that container itself. Catheterized specimens are nothing but it is a you will take the sample from a hollow tube which has been attached to a bladder directly to a urine sample container. Midstream clean catch specimen, which is very much important, especially for microbial examinations, because it considered as less contaminated specimens among all the specimen collection. And for this, it is also required to give a sterile container to a patient. So the he will void the first part of the urine. He will catch the midstream and void the midstream urine into a container. Suprapubic aspirations are nothing but urine can be maybe collected by external instruments like needle. Since it's an invasive procedure, so needle will be inserted to a bladder, and It is mainly used for cytological examination, but since it's an invasive technique, it may cause quite difficulty to the patient. Pediatric specimens can be catheterized sample collections also, or can be suprapubic aspirations also, but or you can attach a plastic bag which is soft and clear to a genital area and attach them with the adhesive tape for both the boys and girls. So there are different types of reagents or the supplies required for sample collection, urine sample collection. The first is disposable container, which has to be leak proof, which is to be clean or sterilized, and we have to have a screw top specimen tube also in case of container. If you don't have container, you can use that screw top specimen tube. You can also require disposable gloves. You can use betadine swab, clean and dry gauze you required, and if patient is inpatient which is unable to go to bathroom, you may require a bedpan or urinal. In case of patient who can travel to a bathroom, then there is no such requirement. So these are the special containers we use for urine sample. The first two specimens is routine sample container, plain urine collection container. And the third one, which contains a boric acid. Boric acid is nothing but it's a preservative we use in case when we could not be able to process the sample within 2 hours, so we might require some preservative. So since one of the example of preservative is boric acid, in the next slide we're going to see different types of preservative and how much preservative we should use according to the sample concentration. Okay. The fourth one is a big container which is used whenever you do 24-hour sample collection. So big container around 2 ml to 3 ml wala capacity wala gallon, we used to give it to the patient. So how to proceed with the sample collection? Okay, so before proceed to the sample collection, we have to instruct the patient. So the instructions will be given for female patients separately and male patients separately. So for female patient, these are the instructions we have to give it to the female patient. First, we need to wash the hand. If possible, wear the gloves. We use betadine swab to clean the perineal areas, and we have to separate the fold of labia and wipe with the help of betadine swab one side from back to front, and then discard the swab. Again, we'll take the betadine swab and clean the other side back and forth. We'll discard the swab. Again, we'll take the betadine swab and wipe off the middle portion back and forth, and we'll discard the swab. So that is, clean the genital area properly. And lastly, what we have to do, we have to pat dry with a clean dry gauze to remove the excessive betadine while keeping the labia separated. So that are the instructions we have to give it to the female patient. And if the patient is under menstruation cycle, it is not advisable to collect a urine sample. So for male patient, same, we have to wash the hand properly. If possible, wear a disposable gloves. And if patient is not circumcised, it is better to pull the foreskin of the penis, and we have to clean it and hold it until during the urination also. And we have to clean the head of the penis in a circular motion with the help of betadine swab. So after instructing the patient, then we have to we have to collect the urine in such a procedure that, after the flow of urine has started, the urine specimen container should be, placed under the patient collection, the mid portion. So mid portion of the urine should be collected by avoiding the first portion of the urine without contaminating the container. And if there is any form of excessive urine which is there, then it is advisable to throw it in a bedpan, urinal, or in a toilet. Then you have to cover the container immediately with the lid while not touching especially the head portion of the container or inside of the lid. Then you have to transfer the specimen into a specimen tube or a specimen bag. Then you have to remove the gloves, we have to wash the hand, and you have to record, label the tube or the container with the identification number of a patient, age of a patient, ward number if possible, at what time they have collected the sample. Okay, so these are the instructions. You have to add it outside of the adhesive tape. And even the same kind of information is also advisable to be written in a register, so that which can be used as a future reference. Then we have to write the name of the patient, the sample timing, sample collection timing and date, and if possible patient number or ward number is required. So that is how you need to do sample collection. The most important thing is preservative we can use in the urine sample. So if the sample could not be able to proceed within 2 hours, it is advisable to use a preservative. The first two things which is commonly used in other laboratories or the small laboratories also is refrigerate them or froze them. So if you want to refrigerate them, you have to keep it at 4 to 8 degrees centigrade. If you want to froze them, then minus 20 degrees centigrade. Or you can use other associated chemicals also to be used as preservative, which is 50% acetic acid, boric acid, urea, hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sodium chloride, thymol and toluidine can be used as a preservative. And at the other side, I have given you how much concentration you have to use. Say for example, in case of sodium carbonate, आपको क्या करना है 5 gram per 24-hour collection. You have to use it. Similarly, for thymol, 10 ml per 24-hour collection. Toluidine 30 ml per 24-hour collection. So this slide is very much important, especially for MCQs. So you have to know what is the preservative and how much you have to use it. So, specimen storage and transportation. So it is very much important to know how to transport the sample, from one place to another place. So for transportation of sample, which requires longer period of time, it is advisable to use the preservative. At the same moment of time, you have to know, the proper handling and, timely processing the sample if necessary for accurate testing without using the preservative. And if it has been transferred from one place to another place, so it is better to keep in a cold chain, which has around 2 to 4 degrees centigrade of 4 to 8 degrees centigrade temperature, which can be achieved by using cold packs. And then it is very much important for you to use a container which is leak proof, or you have to seal that particular cap properly with the help of parafilm, so that it will not spill over whenever it is traveling from one place to another place. So that is how we can transfer the urine sample from one place to another place. This is all regarding urine sample collection. So in the next video, we're going to see how to do physical examination, followed by chemical examination and microscopic examination. So if you have any question regarding urine sample collection, please comment in the comment box. Thank you.